Good afternoon, Greenwin residents. Thank you so much for having me here as part of a suite events. It's such an honor and such a privilege. Welcome to my home. Thank you for having me in your home. This is our third class together, and I'm really excited. I thought with just so much going on in the world that we would focus today on becoming and cultivating that warrior within ourselves. And in the yogic tradition, it's not so much about becoming a warrior to fight, but a warrior to show up, a warrior to become resourceful, of becoming a warrior to energize ourselves and meet the moment and exactly what the reality is and our given reality, and being able to move through it. So we're going to move into different warrior positions on our backs and balancing and standing positions. So as always, before we begin, make sure that you have a few props. So today I have 2 blocks and a blanket and a strap. You can use anything in your home to simulate these. I often use a bathrobe strap, or you can use an old tie, towel, books, whatever you'd like, anything just to support your body in some of these poses. Now, a lot of these poses can be done sitting in a chair. So for those of you who have any mobility issues and limitations, you can try some of these poses in a chair, especially our meditation and our rest pose, because that is really everything. So I'm going to give you a moment to get your props, find a quiet space, and I'll meet you in the center of the mat. And we'll start elevated on our bolster or blanket. And so I like to just tell you the why of everything that we're going to be doing and everything that we do. And the why of elevating our seat is to really help our spine find a little bit more space by keeping the natural curve in our spine. And so it's hard to sit up tall, especially for long periods of time. So when our hips are elevated a little bit higher than our knees, it just gives our thigh bones a little bit more space in the inner pelvis. And next, I want you to find a comfortable position for your palms. So not just your seat, but your palms as well. And in yoga, every way that we place our body, including our hands, is a gesture. So the gesture is really an expression of that which we want to cultivate, that which we want to become. So in that case, if you're feeling like you need to receive energy today, receive some enlightenment, receive an idea, receive some love, whatever it is, spin your palms up. So just have your backs of your hands just resting on your thighs. Alternatively, if your mind is going a mile a minute, darting from thing to thing, if you're feeling a little anxious, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, have your palms spun down. So gesturing our body in a way, in an energy that we would like to attend to, right? And cultivate and nurture. So we'll take a moment to get settled. If you feel ready, close the eyes. If closing the eyes doesn't feel good for you, then just take a soft gaze down the tip of the nose. Take a few moments to steady yourself. Just get all the little fidgets out. Any movement that you need to make, do that. And then begin to choose a few moments of stillness. Choosing stillness to whatever needs to rise up, allowing that to rise up. And then moving into the present moment. And so often our mind is caught up in the past, in what was and what happened. And often our mind is caught up in the future, what's going to happen, the script that we've already written, the worry that we have about what's going to happen. And yet all we really have is what's here. The past has happened and the future is yet to occur. So this is where we are. This is the moment that we're in. So find a few breaths here. And every moment that you bring your mind back into the present is a moment of openness and possibility. And every time we breathe and we are conscious about our breath, we come back into the moment. So turn your attention to the breath. Find some deep inhales and even longer exhales. And I know your mind will wander, because my mind wanders too. It'll wander on the train to the past or the train to the future. And then we breathe again, and it magically brings us back here. So let's add some tactile sensation to it. So bring your left palm onto your heart and your right palm onto your belly. Take 5 breaths here into your hands. Notice how we're already feeling better. The tension is already starting to melt. With no expectations of what this meditation or these tools and practices will do for us. Just stepping into the mystery of what's possible, just being here with it and receiving it. 2 more breaths. One more breath. Releasing your hands and opening up the eyes. Enjoy your class today. So let's move our blanket off to the side and any other props, but keep your strap handy. Now, if you don't have a strap, that's okay. We accommodate. So meet me on your back and have a strap ready. And you can start with bent knees. And then you're going to hug your right knee into your chest. If this feels good, you're going to just start to extend your left leg straight forward. And then just take a deep breath in as you exhale, pull the right knee in towards the chest a little bit more. And then let's do that again. Inhale and exhale. So release your hands for a moment, and I want you to find a 90-degree angle with this right leg, okay? So my right knee is over my hip, and my ankle is shooting straight forward from my knee, and I'm just gonna reach my arms straight up. So this is essentially a warrior 1 with the front leg. In a warrior 1, that left leg would be back, but for the sake of this class, just start to feel this right thigh bone just moving down into your right hip socket and pull your belly in. Good. Let's take another breath here. And then exhale, you're going to lift your head, chest, shoulder blades up. Reach your fingertips towards your left foot and then roll all the way back down. Arms reach up and over the head. Let's do that 4 more times. Inhale, lift, roll it up. Exhale, roll it back. Moving on, breath, inhale, lift, and roll back. Just roll up as it's comfortable or maybe challenging for you. Let's go 1 more time. Beautiful. Start to bring your arms all the way back down. Hug your right knee into your chest. And we're going to come into what we call a half happy baby pose. So we know what a happy baby looks like when they're on their backs, their knees are bent, they grab their feet, and they're just so joyous. So as adults, we may not feel that joy in our body at this point, since our bodies just go through so much in our lifetime. So we're going to see what kind of half happy baby pose brings you a little bit of joy. Maybe it's just keeping your right knee bent, moving your right shin off to the side, holding it here. Maybe it's grabbing your right ankle. So here's the half happy baby. Maybe it's grabbing the outer edge of your right foot. And that left leg can be straight. If you're feeling it in your low back, there's any tug of your low back, any discomfort, just bend your left knee. So finding your half happy baby here for a few breaths on the right side, gazes forward, press gently into that left foot, and then the right knee just drops down towards the mat. Any amount on every exhale. Let's go for 2 more breaths. So often we're not looking for the joy. Often we're just highlighting and looking for what hurts, what's uncomfortable. Find a little bit of joy in this stretch and knowing that the body's going to feel so good after. Okay, I got 1 more pose for you. Take a deep breath. Re-straighten that left leg if it's bent, and then hug the right knee into the chest. I'm going to give you 2 options. The first option, just straighten your right leg to the sky. So this is a warrior 3, shoulders release. If you have a strap, this is where you can strap up that right foot, extend it all the way to the sky, and then gently pull it towards you. So notice I'm not gripping the strap like crazy. There's no white knuckles here. It's just a gentle grip of the strap, and I'm pulling my right toes towards my face. Just finding a few more breaths here. And then we're going to do that whole sequence on the other side. Soften through the shoulders. Notice when you're really trying to force something. And then let's bend the right knee. And then releasing the right leg down. So before we go to the other side, let's just feel some of the work that we did. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Big breath in. And then exhale, arms come down by your side. Let's pull our left knee in now. So just a few breaths just to warm up this left hip a little bit. You can think about your left thigh bone just pulling and being placed back into center, back into its home. Just hugging that left knee in every exhale. 1 more here. Okay. And then you're going to find a 90-degree angle with this left leg. So my left knee, keep your head down. My left knee is over my left hip. My left foot is just reaching straight up. It's a 90-degree angle. So it's essentially like our warrior 1 pose, the front leg. And then we're going to reach the arms up just like we do in a warrior 1. You're going to take a deep breath here. I want you to feel your navel pulling into the spine. And then exhale, roll it up. Arms reach forward. Try to relax your neck. Let's do 4 more. Inhale back. And then lift up. Good. Try to keep the shoulders down, away from the ears. Move at a pace that feels good for you. Let's go 2 more rounds. And then release. Hug that left knee back into the chest. Let's go for the happy baby on the left side. So if you had trouble finding joy on the right side, maybe looking for the stretch and some of the ease that we get with a happy baby on this side, right? If you went right for what's wrong, what's not working, what's tight, what if we were to approach our left side a little differently? So you can just find your left knee moving towards your left armpit, left fingertips are just grazing over that left shin. You can grab the outer edge of the foot or the ankle. You can even use a strap. But my left thigh is moving outside my spine, so to the left. Find that half happy baby. You can even imagine yourself as that happy baby. Yeah. Isn't that a nice thought? Just brings up joy right inside you. Let's take another breath here. All the while we're just drumming up the joy, we're getting a good stretch through the hip. Okay. So for the last 2 breaths, if you want, you can also bend that extended leg if you need to. From here, you're going to take 1 more breath and then start to straighten your left leg, finding that warrior 3 on our backs. So you can strap up your left foot or just interlace your fingers anywhere behind that left leg. But what you don't want to do is have your shoulders and your head up. You just want to soften the arms. It's about the legs right now. We'll stay here another few breaths. Just getting a good hamstring stretch. So tight hips and tight low backs and tight hamstrings. They're not just isolated, right? They're all a part of one package. So in order for our hips to feel a bit better, we got to open up the hamstrings, stretch out the low back. Take a few more breaths here. And then exhale, draw both knees into the chest. Just rock side to side. Give yourself a massage. You can circle these legs a little bit. And then we're going to roll all the way up. Come on over, hands and knees. You can move your props off to the side if you need to. So from hands and knees, let's start to find a little movement in the spine. So I'm going to start with my knees, hips distance apart. My palms, I want to spread them so I can use my whole hand. And fingers are wide. From here, look forward. Find a little arch in the back. And you can do this seated. And then exhale, round, round, round the back like a cat, chin to the chest. A few more times. Inhale, shoulders move away from the ears. When you do this, you start to notice where your shoulders live. One of my teachers used to always say, are your shoulders like a pair of earrings? Because they're always up by your neck. So it's where you carry your stress. And then exhale, round through the back. As you look forward, we're going to curl the toes under. We're going to press into the palms, and you're going to meet me in downward facing dog. So you're going to start to lift your hips. You're going to press them up and back. So the body takes this A frame, the shape of an A frame. And for a lot of us, we feel this weight in our shoulders. And so if that's you, I want you to bend the knees a little bit, pull the hips way back, let the head go. Soften the breath, soften the shoulders. You can keep your knees bent the whole time. So you're pressing your hips up towards the ceiling, push the floor away from you. Let's stay here 1 more breath. Good. And then you're going to draw the knees down. You're going to take them wide, bring your big toes together, and take your hips back to your heels, and meet me in that child's pose position. Let the head come down. So I'm not going to talk to my max. I want to talk to you, but you relax your head. So child's pose is a place that you can come to at any point in the practice. You need to catch your breath. You need to relax, change your state, whatever it is. That is where you come. We're going to take 1 more breath here. And then meet me back in hands and knees. You're going to curl your toes under. And instead of pulling hips back, take your hips forward, shoulders forward, bend your elbows lower all the way onto your belly. From here, you're going to point your toes, spin your hands out, and take a few shoulder rolls back as you lift up into a cobra and then lower. So I'm keeping my legs down. I want to feel my back body activate. You can lift up high or stay low. Just be mindful. So let's just do 1 more cobra. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, release. Curl your toes under. Send your hips back through the child's pose and then back to downward dog. Let's take a full breath to recalibrate. Inhale. Exhale. Start to walk your feet all the way up to your hands. And then as you walk your feet up to the hands, bend your knees here and let your head hang. Let the head go. 2 breaths. And then as you release your arms, just slowly roll it up. As you come back to the top of the mat and come up to stand, take a few more shoulder rolls back. Never take enough shoulder rolls, right? Okay. Let's bring our palms together and thumbs into the heart center. We're going to take a deep breath in here. And then exhale, you're going to take your right leg all the way to the back of the mat. You're going to face the back of the mat. Now I'm going to bring my right foot on the right side of the mat and my left foot on the left side of the mat. Now my left toes are angled in, and this is why I turn to the back, so I want to make sure that you can see my back foot from this angle. My right toes are forward. My left toes are turned out about 45 degrees. And then from here, I'm just going to start to bend my right knee. So we're coming into warrior one. You can stay here with your palms on your right thigh, or just like we did when we were lying down on our backs, we start to reach our arms up. So if your chest is really moving forward, so far forward that there's no containment in the ribs, pull the ribs in and then lift the arms up. Now my palms are shoulder distance apart. If you're feeling good, bring the palms together. Looking up here, front leg is bent. We can go for 90 degrees or just any degree of a bend. And we're going to hold it here for another few breaths. This is when the practice gets a little bit heated, so stay with me. And this is a really great practice to do seated if that's where you are. From here, you're going to take your left arm, open up your left shoulder, your left hip. So I'm going to readjust my feet, where maybe my feet go out away from center a little bit more. And my right heel, if I were to draw a straight line, my right heel would intersect with the arch of my left foot. I'm going to go deeply into my right hip, extend my arms out. This is warrior two. Gaze out your right fingertips. So remember I talked about how every pose, every way that we place our body is a gesture. And so everywhere that we place our gaze is also a gesture. Every pose has a focus point. So this focus point is the fingertip. So let's stay here for another 2 breaths. I'm sure your right thigh is starting to talk to you. Stay with me. 2 more breaths. One more breath. So I'm going to give you a little break here in that right thigh. So inhale, just stretch, stretch, stretch the arms up for a breath, palms together. And then exhale, come back to that warrior two. We have 2 more poses, okay? Left arm draws down the left leg. We call this a reverse warrior. Just keep reaching that right knee forward. Left arm is nice and relaxed. So you're not arching back. You're just going to follow the gaze of your right fingertips as you stretch through the right side body. We got 1 more breath here and then 1 more pose. Okay. From here, you're going to take your fingers behind your back. Interlace your fingers. You're going to walk your right foot out a little bit. So now maybe the heels are a little bit more in one line. From here, push deeply through the feet, open up through the chest, and then start to bow your head to the inside of your right leg. Let your arms reach up and over your head. Stay with it here. This is a little bit of core work, a lot of pushing down through the feet. 2 more breaths. One more breath. Just let those shoulders be heavy. Instead of coming up, we're going to reach our hands down, step your right foot back, knees down, and I want you to find a child's pose, so rest. So knees go wide, big toes together, walk your hands out, let your head go. So if you started to get, you stay in your child's pose while I talk. So if you're starting to get a little bit sweaty, body's feeling a little bit warm, you're exactly in that place. Okay? Take another breath in your child's pose. Let's stretch it out now into our downward dog. Hands come back. Find hands and knees. Curl the toes under. Spread through your fingers. You want to find this foundation. And then inhale. Lift up through the hips. Press them back. So as our legs begin to warm up, notice if you can start to straighten them a little bit. If you're feeling it in your low back, shoulders, keep a bend in the knees. Melt the chest back. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Let your head hang. The gaze point here is right through the legs. Right through the window of your 2 legs. 1 more breath. Knees down. Let's take our chest forward. Keep your toes curled under. Bend your elbows. Lower everything down gently to the mat. From here, let's do 3 more cobras. So you want to think about your shoulders rolling up, back, and away, then the chest follows. That's 1. And lower. Think about lifting rather than just pushing. Use your back body. Push down through the toes. Inhale. 2. 1 more. And 3. Curl the toes under. Move back to your downward dog, just 1 breath. And then start to walk your feet all the way up to your hands. This is a little bit different this round. You're going to bring your hands to your shins, lift your chest up halfway, and then slowly start to fold into the legs. Bend your knees a lot. From here, we're going to reach our arms all the way up. And then bring your arms down by your side. Good. Let's do that whole sequence on the other side. So from here, let's take our left foot to the other side. And let's set up for that warrior 1. So remember, we have 2 poses, a little break, and then 2 more poses, and then our flow. Okay? So the warrior 1, my right foot's on the right side of my mat, my left foot's on the left side of my mat. You can think about your mat having 2 tracks, right? Just like skis. Left foot's on the left ski, right foot's on the right ski. Now my right toes are angled out about 45 degrees, okay? And then I'm going to find the bend that's comfortable for me, right? Maybe a little out of my comfort zone if I want to challenge myself. But the 2 things you got to think about here, or just note, if your back heel is coming up, just take the foot out. You want to try to anchor the right foot in. If you have knee issues, it doesn't feel good, you can always just come into the lunge. Second thing, if my left knee is going way past my left ankle, I'm putting a lot of stress on my knee. So I'd rather your left knee be behind your ankle than way past it. When you're ready, lift the arms up or keep your palms on the left thigh. You can bring the palms together or take them apart. But wherever you are, lift the whole side body up. Take your gaze up. Few more breaths here. Remember, these poses are designed to wake us up to who we are. These are warrior poses. Warriors to show up, be there. Warriors to be resourceful. Take 2 more breaths. And then from here, start to open up the right hip. Now our feet adjust a little bit. I'm going to walk my left foot more into the center of my mat. So my left heel intercepts with the arch of my right foot, right? And because our hips are opening up a little bit differently, the feet may want to feel like they want to go a bit wider. Now, arms extend right from the heart center. Reach into that right arm as much as you're reaching into the left arm. Gaze is out, the left fingertips, holding it here. before we take a little interlude. 3 more breaths. Go for it. Get really tall and really long through the spine. 1 more breath. This pose can be done from a chair, so no excuses. Okay, inhale. Both arms up. Whew. Feel the burn. Take another inhale. And then let's go back to our warrior 2. We just have 2 more. And then let's find that reverse warrior. Just let your right hand slide back. Left fingertips reach up and over. Breathing here. Breathing deep. So remember, you're not crunching into your low back here. Think about your upper body lifting up and off the pelvis, finding the side body stretch. But the upper body and the lower body are moving in 2 different directions. Okay, here we go. Last pose. Move your left foot over to the left a little bit. Back to its track, back to its ski. Interlacing your fingers behind your back. Take a deep breath in. Keep your front leg bent. Keep your back foot anchored in. Find your humble warrior. Let your head go. Press into your feet. If it's too much to keep your hands up, then you can do this with your hands down. 2 to 3 more breaths. Stay with it. One more breath. Your hands are going to come down. Your right knee comes down. Your left leg comes back. Come to your child's pose. Knees wide, hips back on the heels, let the head go. So you find a few breaths there before we move into our last flow. I hope your legs are talking to you. They're nice and warm. Let's roll up. Come to hands and knees, curl the toes under, breath in, and slowly find your downward facing dog. Just stay here for 3 breaths. So if you find those shoulders are kind of curling up towards your ears, very common. So to start to remove those shoulders from the ears, bend the knees here, melt your chest back. Think about how you could split your mat apart with your hands. Let's stay here for another breath. And exhale. Drop your knees. You're going to take your chest forward, bend your elbows, lower down. Okay, this is going to be a little bit different than our 3 cobras. You're going to bring, if it's okay with your low back, if your low back is pretty healthy, bring your big toes together. Otherwise, you can keep them hips distance apart. Toes together. You're going to bring your arms down by your side. The insides of your hands are going to push down to the mat. From here, start to lift your chest up. So I'm pushing into my belly button. And if this feels okay, my back body's really working, maybe I lift my legs. We call this locust pose. Look forward, find a few breaths here. So your whole back body should be working. A few more breaths. Feel the shoulder blades come together. It's like your whole body, your back body squeezing towards the center. 1 more breath. And release. Bring your left or your right cheek down to the mat. Bend your knees and let your knees just rock side to side. Just let your legs rock side to side, your hips rock side to side. And then find your child's pose. Last time here in a child's pose. Last time in your downward dog, 3 breaths, at least for this practice. So for our last 2 breaths of our downward dog, let's let the breath out through the mouth pretty loudly. So we're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Walk your feet up to your hands, just like we did last time. Bend in the knees to your hands to the shins, look up halfway. Gaze is forward, and then you're going to fold into your legs. Lift the body all the way up slowly, arms lift, 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 and then hands come down by your side. Breath in and breath out. Okay, one more warrior pose we have to do, which is warrior 3. Now, before we begin, if you have blocks or books or, I don't know, kids' bricks, those little cardboard bricks, those are really good too. You can take whatever you need to out in front of you as just in case, right? As support in case. So we're prepared, right? Part of being a warrior is being prepared, right? Not overly prepared or worried about it, but just having some support, just being resourceful here. So we're going to start on the left leg, and we're going to prepare the body to come into a T shape. And so the leg that's going to float back, and your chest is going to be the top of the T, and then one of your legs is going to be the trunk of your T here, okay? So you're going to shift the weight onto your left foot, and we're going to pull the right knee into the chest here. This is where we're going to start. We're going to flex the foot, just starting to get warmed up on the left leg. We're standing in our left leg, right? Strongly like a warrior, heart open. Take a deep breath here. And then as if you're moving through water, push your right foot back. Your chest comes forward to about your hip height. Now, we want to try to square these hips off. So if I need to, I can take blocks underneath my hands here. Or maybe I bring my palms together. But we're going to balance on this left leg. Gaze is forward, neck is nice and long. We want to try to find a little bit of strength in the front of the body. 2 more breaths. And then we rise all the way up. And then release. So I'll give you just a 30-second break. So if you fall in these balancing poses, you fall out. If you fall out of any pose, right? I fall out of poses all the time. Sometimes we feel defeated, right? But as warriors, let's think of it like we're just going to get back in. We're just going to get back in the game. Just going to come out. We're going to come up again, right? We're just going to pick it up. And that's what we need to do right now in our lives, right? Things are perhaps not turning out as we planned. Lots of uncertainty. So we adapt and we pick it up again, okay? We can think about our practice as we do in our life, right? Learn so much from this yoga practice. So let's do that same pose and practice finding balance, practice finding our edges, learning on our right leg. So we move into our warrior 3. So shifting the weight into your right foot and starting to lift your left leg. And we're just starting to warm up our glutes here. So warming up our support. Finding your breath here, flexing your left foot. Take a deep breath in here. And then exhale as you push the air back. With your left foot, you can decide if you want to take support or not. So again, I'm trying to square my hips off. You can stay here. There's lots of alternatives for the arms. You can extend the arms back too. Keep your gaze point. Stand firmly in that right foot. And if you fall, you come all the way back. Stay here for a few more breaths. Gaze is forward. Find one single thing to focus on. Right now it's our breath and our pose. Last inhale. Ooh, and exhale. And then let's release. Let's meet on the floor here. Come to sit. Hopefully you're feeling energized. Let's move our blocks off to the side. And again, if you have a blanket, do you like using a blanket for some of these seated poses? Take it. So let's start by sitting on our blanket again. And we're going to extend our right leg straight forward. And our sole of our left foot comes to the inside of our right thigh. So we're going to do 2 poses here. Get 2 poses out of this one shape. And the first one is just going to be a twist, okay? So you're going to sit up nice and tall. And that's another reason that, again, that we take this blanket is so our spine can find some length and our spine is in a more optimal position. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, your right knee is going to go, or your right hand, going to your left knee. Left hand goes behind your back, and then you're going to take your gaze over your left shoulder. Now I want you to breathe here into the chest and into your belly. And some of these seated poses, if you want, you can take your gaze point just over the shoulder here. And then once you're there, you can close your eyes and go inward. So seated poses in yoga can be, they're still require, right? They're still demanding. They still require they show up. But they are more reflective than perhaps our standing poses that are more energizing, that are more strength building. Let's take another breath here. And then exhale, we're going to come all the way back to center. So I'm going to spin around. You don't spin around. I'm just going to spin around so I could show you from another perspective. From here, we're going to start to fold towards our right foot. And so if you're really rounded in your upper back and you're kind of just hanging here, then you're not going to get a lot out of this pose. So if you have that trusty strap, you can take it around the right foot. I'd rather you sit up nice and tall and start to walk your hands towards the right foot and then let the head go. Alternatively, you can take a little bend in the right knee and fold. And so think about your belly button coming towards your right thigh. Yeah. And then relaxing your head here and breathing. So finding that balance between creating and making the effort to get into the pose and then just being there and seeing what reveals itself. And then let's roll it all the way up. And we're going to switch legs. So I'm going to go this way so you can see. So now my left leg is extended. And I'm going to bring the sole of my right foot in. See that? Good. And then from here, I'm going to sit up nice and tall. I'm going to take my chest forward to begin with. And then left hand to my right knee. Now my right hand comes behind my back. And then again, as I take my gaze out, so here's my shoulder, then my gaze will go. Let the hand, your right hand, go behind you. Right? In this hand, it's not stationary. It can keep moving. Just depending on how open you are here in the chest and your thoracic spine. Find that quietness. Lift the chin a little bit. One more breath. Gaze long. And then slowly start to move the chest forward again. Little bend in the knees or grab your strap. But again, if you're really just kind of folded over in the upper body hanging here, not going to do a lot. So I'd rather you take some support, try to keep your spine nice and long, and then fold. So you can even take blocks, right? Blocks on either side of the left leg is nice. So as warriors, we get really resourceful, right, for what the moment calls for. And, whatever we did last week in our practice or even on our other side doesn't really matter, because this side, this day, this moment requires that we get present to what's here. So if we're experiencing tightness in our left leg today, okay, let's adapt to it. One more breath. And then roll it all the way up. Okay. So come off your blanket and let's bring the soles of our feet down. And let's meet again on our backs. And before you do, make sure that you have, again, something solid like a book or a block that's handy. And I'm going to give you some choices. So once you come down to the mat, you're going to bring your arms down by your side. And we're going to do a full front body opener, which will feel so good after all those warrior poses. Because in those warrior poses, we did a lot of flexion, right? Where we were pulling our body into itself, right? And now we just want to open up. We just want to counter that. So we want to find a lot of extension and openness. So with our arms down by our sides, see if you can tickle your heels, okay? If not, that's okay too. Just be mindful of where your ankles are. Ideally, we want them underneath the knees. Arms come down by your side. Take a deep breath in. Two choices. First choice is if you have a block handy, as you lift your hips any amount, you can place your block at any height underneath your hips, okay? And so this block or whatever support you have goes right at the top of your butt, okay? So just at the base of your spine, not in the middle of your spine, not under your butt, not under your hamstring, not under your legs, under that little triangular bone at the base of your spine. And then you can just let the block do the work. So your upper body, your lower body, your body just is supported here. Alternatively, if you want to keep it really active, lift up through the hips, interlace your fingers under the back, opening up through the chest. Find a few breaths. Eyes open. Pressing down through these interlaced fingers, backs of the shoulders, back of the head, and the bottoms of the feet. Take another breath in. And then exhale, release. Knock your knees side to side. I'm going to hug the knees into the chest. Now, you're going to come into that happy baby, but instead of single legs, together, okay? So it's either you just hug your knees to the chest and you find some stillness. Maybe your hands just drape around the shins. Maybe you grab your ankles or the outer edges of your feet. Just find a few breaths wherever you are. 3, 2. Take a deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And then from here, hug your knees to the chest. And lastly, find your Shavasana, your resting pose. Just for a short time, 2 minutes. Take up as much space as you can and give yourself permission to set up for purposeful rest. So I'm just going to sit up, but you guys lie down. Closing the eyes, allowing yourself to feel support here. Letting go of your breath, your purposeful breath. And just allow yourself to relax. and let go. I will give you another moment to just enjoy this. Begin to bring your attention back into the moment and then fill it with a new breath. Inhale. Exhale, exhale. Start to stretch your arms all the way up and over the head. Take a deep breath. And then bend your knees and roll over to the right side of your body. Honor yourself for taking the time, for perhaps doing things that you've never done or haven't done in a long time, or honoring yourself for staying committed to moving your body and breathing and taking care of you. And with that, pressing yourself up to sit, we'll bring our palms together and thumbs to the heart space. We'll close our eyes and just bow our heads here as a gesture of honor and devotion to each other and for this beautiful gift from the Greenwin group, connecting and getting to move our bodies and breathing and taking care of ourselves. Thank you for your presence. Namaste. I will see you next week. Wishing you a great Tuesday. Thank you.